Super excited to have you here on our podcast, new episode of Leaders Cut the BS. I'm really, really excited to speak with you. You have a very unique story, I feel, because you've been into the marketing space. I was their CMO of Trama and then you became its CEO. So definitely there's something there. And I don't know, but Trama sounds to me like a bit of trauma, but I feel like there's something so special around the brand and how you actually position yourself as protecting the heart and soul of business, which I love, which is the identity. So enough of me speaking. For the audience who don't know you, who is Juraj?
Mark, first of all, pleasure to be here. Who is Juraj? Juraj is currently the CEO of Trama. Trama is the provider of trademark registration and brand protection services. We've been around for 6 years now. We have done amazing things. We have grown significantly over the 6 years. We are now covering global trademark portfolios of our clients, monitoring their brands day and night, protecting the heart and soul of their business, as you say.
Amazing, amazing. So, and when you look at yourself at work, like tell us a bit of your journey, Uri. Like, so this CMO CEO dynamic, what happened, and tell us a bit more about your story and what led you to do what you do now.
Very long story. Not sure if the whole podcast will be enough for it, but I'll try to shorten it as much as I can. I was asked to join Trama during the early days. I was asked by the initial founders, and they came to me and told me basically, we have this amazing product. We just need somebody to spread the word and sell it. It turned out that the product wasn't quite there. We took quite a few turns until we perfected our offering. So I really started from the marketing angle, looking at how we can get trademark registration and brand protection cool, how we can get that interest among our target audience, which is particularly tricky because most of the entrepreneurs who should be thinking about brand protection, they don't know anything about that. They think that that's just given, isn't it? Like nobody's going to steal my brand, is it? So there's a lot of education as part of the marketing activities. And eventually, as we grew and as our relationship between the founders formalized and reshaped quite a few times, we have learned that that marketing perspective, that understanding of the client, listening to them and talking to them, explaining the offering to them is actually the most important thing in our business. So there was a lot of interpersonal dynamics, but this was the main business rationale of how I managed to go well into the CEO role.
Wow, super inspiring. So it's the education of why brand protection is so important. You went in that angle back and forth, and then like you're right, like come on, you understand this business so well. We need you to lead this and be at the helm. That's amazing. Congrats on this. And so, at work, like now as the CEO, where do you what do you spend most of your time thinking about?
Most of that, my time I spent thinking about what is the actual problem that our client is trying to solve. And how I tell him that, okay, there is a problem that you should be trying to solve. I'm obsessed about our client experience. I'm also obsessed about the experience of our lawyers. So it's really like a two-edged sword, trying to fight both offense and defense, trying to improve our processes, but at the same time, trying to make the client happy. And it turns out there are quite a lot of cross sections that like we help in one way our clients, but at the same time, it really helps our internal process. So there are these win-win scenarios.
Wow, I love it. That's a really strong question, and what your focus is absolutely, I feel, on point. So, what's the part of your role you feel that might be surprising to the audience or to your colleagues or to customers? What surprises people the most about what you do?
If you ask it around, I do ask around my friends, like, okay, so what do you think that I do? My father has absolutely no idea. My family has yeah, 95% of the people I ask, okay, so what does a CEO do? They're like, okay, they just go to banquets and meet partners and shake hands. I even got friends who are CEOs and they try to soften their role and they just put it, oh, I just talk to people all day long. It's not really true. And there are like so many different aspects that it's really hard to capture it. And So I can't really tell you what is the most surprising to everyone else, because I think pretty much every aspect that I do is surprising for them. But what was surprising for me was being a CEO and a CEO in a rapidly growing startup. What surprised me the most was that I had to spend so much time on interpersonal issues and
Mm,
dealing way sooner than I thought. That I would have to deal with maternity leaves and
mm,
replacing personal and just shuffling the team around so that we can
yeah.
continue to deliver the quality.
Yeah, I love that. So the EQ, it's like really, and this is something I experience a lot is like you unlock the highest potential of a team by really understanding deeply who they are and what they love and their fears and how do they mesh together. It's like you mentioned offense and defense. Maybe it's like a soccer team or a sports team. So there's a lot of dynamics and a lot of things that is very hard to measure, but still that takes a lot of energy. So I totally relate to that. That's great. So walk us through a normal week for your team. Where do you feel the work tends to pile up?
Every week is different. Every
Wow.
week is different, but overall in different areas, but I would say it's communication. Either
Mm,
internal communication, just waiting for someone to give them that piece of information that they need to continue working, or it's communication with our clients.
mm,
And that includes a lot of iteration with the client. There's the initial consultation, there's a lawyer's check on our end. Then we start preparing application, gathering data, sending it for a review. And this communication process is outside of our hands to some extent.
mm,
And most of the time, we are just waiting for the client or for a member of the team. So this is where it sort of piles up, and
mm,
it's not really a problem. The problem it becomes when suddenly 50 clients basically wake up at the same moment and reply back after weeks of silence. And naturally, they expect that, okay, in this instance, that we will just, process their
yeah.
application. So that creates a bit of a challenge for us, let's call it.
Yeah, I relate to this a lot. You know, the last minute the CEO adrenalines, like they push these issues, and sometimes also it's hard because they would put the brand protection as is it important and urgent. They would put it as important, but they keep the urgent. They push it away, and then when you say suddenly it's like it becomes urgent. There's a due diligence. There's I don't know. There's someone copying them. There's a competitor, and now it becomes urgent. So that's the hard thing is to prevent that. I think that's what you talked about as well. Maybe you're insinuating to this. So what also with that being said, what's the kind of task that quietly just is eating up time, but nobody really questions?
Nobody really questions. It's like we've started the business with an idea that we're going to do it a bit different than
Mm,
the, let's call it, traditional IP law firm. And if we were to implement the same processes as you can see in the traditional IP law firm, we wouldn't survive because of the volume of the clients we currently have.
mm,
Managed to streamline a lot of things, including the communication, but still the part that is eating away at the time is really just communication, keeping track of things, and some routine stuff. And we
mm,
simplified it to basically 3 clicks. But
mm.
even though 3 clicks, when you need to do them 100 times a day, they just eat away the time.
I see. Maybe walk us for the audience who doesn't know what is the traditional IP filing. I'll tell you my understanding. The IP filing traditionally is you'll give me the brand name, you'll give me what kind of IP you want. So is it like the brand protection or is it like the I know there are patents, but it's not about that. It's like there's trademarks and several types of trademarks, and then there's the jurisdictions. You want it to be in Europe and in countries, and every country has a different portal to apply to first check if there's already a trademark, and then second to apply for one and get the feedback. So it's like there's a lot going on. Actually, it's quite complex. But what's the traditional sense, and how are you guys different, or what do you have differently as an insight to make this 3-click happen? Because it sounds great, the 3-click.
It is definitely a very complex process. As you say, there are different rules in every country. We're trying to be like one go-to platform, go-to law firm that can handle all the client's needs. So like you need a trademark in 20 countries. Before Trama, you would have to go to 20 different attorneys. With us,
Wow.
we understand you, your needs, and we just distribute the work to our local partners. We are the
Mm,
focal in this process. We have the internal team that is managing that brand protection and brand strategy aspect. And
mm,
when it comes to the actual filing, representation, sanity check, that comes down to the local attorneys who are properly licensed there. With our internal team, we are covering major 20 countries. So UK, US, EU, Australia, you name it, we are handling it with our internal people. It's actually the lawyer that talks to you that's going to be handling the case. But when we are talking about South Africa and Congo and Sudan and Mauritius, then we are relying on the local experts. And
mm,
when we are talking about the traditional approach to IP protection, it was very, very centered about the human contact between the lawyer and the client. So it used to start, and in most cases, it probably still starts with a really long onboarding between
mm,
the IP firm and the client. So there's this hour long, 5 hour long, I don't know how long session between the IP law firm and the client, for which the client is obviously billed by the hour.
mm,
They're just trying to ascertain all the information. We have taken a different approach because if you are doing this, you are left with no other choice but to make it inaccessible to small and medium sized entrepreneurs because they just
mm.
can't afford to pay 5 hours of attorney bills
Yeah.
salary just to get things moving. So we simplified it into really a 3-step approach.
Mm,
Website, as you said, you just give us your brands, give us your description of the product services you offer. Website, if you have, select the countries in which you think
mm,
you want to operate. That's it, all we need. Then the ball is in our court. We start with lawyer's check. We do that free of charge. We have the result within 24 hours. So within 24 hours, on average, it's actually more like 6, but we just want to really keep the promise we give our clients. So within
mm,
6 hours on average, our clients have the feedback that, okay, this trademark is good to go. We can start the registration process.
mm,
Or there is a particular issue, we should probably warn you about it. We can
mm,
discuss options how to overcome it, and then we can decide whether to continue or not. And at this stage, the ball is again in the client's court whether they wish to proceed or not. No
mm,
payment has been made so far. This is the place where the client needs to make a decision. We are happy to guide him through the decision, but it's a different approach. It's so easy to start for the entrepreneur to think about brand protection, and we encourage them to make full use, basically exploit this opportunity of a free lawyer's check on our
mm.
web because it gives them an insight whether they can continue with the brands or they should probably
Yeah.
depart. And among our competitors, like this is the first stage or the second stage of
Mm,
the process, but it usually takes a week and you are charged up to 300 just for this, just for getting
mm.
that feedback, whether it is even possible to
Wow.
protect.
Amazing. Amazing. So I love how you do this checks in like 24 hours or 6 hours, where it usually costs 300. That's great. That's very encouraging. So I love the process. And, you mentioned there's a lot of moving parts and it's complex. So when things get really busy, like imagine this really busy week for you and your team, what usually you feel breaks first?
Every week something different. Every week something different because if we have a sudden inflow of clients in the first stage, yes, the first week our team that is doing these lawyers checks is struggling to keep up with the volume.
Mm,
Next week it is the team that is handling the preparation of trademark applications. Few months
mm.
later, it is the team that is handling post registration care. So every week is different.
Wow, I hear you, man. So, at some point, did you consider AI or automation or software as a possible fix to this, like these three steps and maybe automating parts? So you've already done great. So, but I'm wondering, like, what did you consider?
100%, 100%. The whole idea of Trama would not be here without us
Yeah,
thinking about automation.
yeah,
Now, Trama started before AI was cool. There was
yeah.
no talk of AI when we launched the company. So we were focused really on streamlining processes and automation where possible. Over the last, let's call it 2 to 3 years, AI has become a thing. Over the last 6 months, there has been massive improvement in terms of the capabilities enabled by the AI. And it just opens a lot of doors for us. On a conceptual level, I do not personally see a difference between what we used to do. Like we
Mm,
were obsessed with streamlining, reducing mundane work can be done by the machine and the AI age. It's just the speed of execution that
mm,
and I'll make a practical example. When you actually have the confirmed trademark application iterated with the client, approved by the client, you still need to
mm.
file to the intellectual property office. Now, traditional approach is to log into the website, fill in the form, takes you an hour to do it
Mm,
properly. With the automation, it took us 2 weeks to develop a Chrome extension, which basically copies the information into the portal, fills it out
nice.
for you. With the AI, we could have done the same thing, not within 2 weeks' time, but in half an hour. So it's
Wow.
really no change in the principle, but speed of execution.
Wow. That's amazing. I love that. Wow. And I'm wondering if this is something like you internally built or you're using an outside tool, but it sounds like these are webhooks and something, it sounds a bit advanced. So I'm not sure. But yeah, so if you can expand a bit on that. But I also want to ask, what did you try, but actually it didn't really work the way you hoped?
This dates back to the early days and the very cool product that
Mm,
the original co-founders asked me to promote. My
mm,
origins, Trama. The very first idea was to create basically an automated system of this clearance search. This is the lawyer's check that we currently do. And the idea was just to create a traffic light system. Okay, the
mm.
client gives us the brand name, gives us the product description, the machine wears, and you get the result. It's a green light, it's a red light, or it's an orange light, and we need to look at it further. And that was the initial idea. It sounded very cool, but it turned out to be a generator of random colors.
Like, you mean the, it's so funny. So you mean the colors would say if this is already like what happens in the 24 hours, like it's checking if this is already used or there's a brand kind of trademark towards this brand, or is that what you mean? Or
There are several aspects that we need to check to see if the trademark can be registered. Two broad areas. One is distinctiveness. For example, if
mm,
you are a manufacturer of automobiles, you can't name your brand's car because
mm,
that's what you are doing. And this is an obvious one, but you can imagine how it may get tricky. And the other part is, okay, is there any already registered trademark or already, is there a brand that is already using this name in
mm,
commerce?
mm,
If there is, it may be very challenging to register that. And it's not
yeah.
about exact match, it's about similarity and
Mm.
the concept of customer confusion. So if a customer could be confused whether the brand is the same or not, then it's ineligible for registration.
So it has to be really far. Like, for example, Carco for shampoo. Is it a shampoo, Carco? And then the other one is Carco for cars. Then that's very far. Like, so the customer wouldn't be confused. But if it's like a Carco for tires and Carco for cars, then it's very hard. Like, it is a very small example. I'm sure it's way more complex. But this is what you try to do. Yeah, with AI. Go ahead.
You seem to have a very good understanding of this. I think we would be very interested to have you on board, grasping it.
No, but you do well at giving the principles. So that's why I'm picking up very fast. But yeah, so okay. And so this didn't work as you thought, but the webhooks worked and that saved a lot of time. So looking back, what do you think was missing when you tried to fix or improve that process?
I think we needed the experience. Like we did not have the experience that we currently have. We did not have the understanding of how complex the process can be.
Mm.
And we oversimplified it in our heads, and that's why it just didn't work. We didn't understand the full complexity. We do now, and experience is the only way to overcome that.
Yeah. And you know, when you say experience, to me, it means failures. It means like problems. So it sounds like and the people who endure that are the ones who get the wisdom. So I feel you've been there, and that's great. And I want to ask you, if this process ran noticeably like smoother for you, what do you think that would free you up for, or free up your team?
We are continuously having this discussion,
Mm.
and we've been having this discussion even on a company-wide level. And in other companies, there is this natural fear that, okay, if the process was smoother, then the company would probably not really need the human
Yeah.
element, right? And our take, and supported by what we have done so far, is that it really frees up the time of our lawyers, our people working for Trama or with Trama, for creating added value for the clients.
Mm.
You can gather much more information. They can get quicker decisions with the help of the system. And at the end of the day, they can spend more time collating it together, giving that extra judgment layer over it, and taking the time to explain it properly to the clients.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
This may change very soon. So if I reflect back on this interview like 6 months later, I might be like, oh, I was so wrong. This may change quickly, but so far, the customer base, the people out there are not ready to talk to the machine. They
Yeah.
want the human contact,
Yeah.
and they don't really care if the machine does the work, but they want the human to be in control of the machine, to
Mm.
them. And this is where we are heading. This is where every piece of automation that we
Mm.
introduce allows us to create that added value for our clients.
Yeah. I hear you, and I agree. I think with you that this even process, like if you would tell any firm, any entrepreneur, go now and check your trademark. I haven't seen any platform like this. But and if it does what your lawyer team would do in 6 hours, but it would help you internally to do it and give you like 90% accuracy. I don't know, that could be game changing. It could be like a tool where a lot of people are just, going on, and it's like a way to also create a lot of demand, because now you have so many people trying it. But it has some degree of complexity. But I'm also not sure if this is the core process that you think, if that would be improved, would free up the most time. So I just want to go into a bit ROI, because you're the CEO, so you would understand this the most. So if that one process, if you take your whole workflow and you take the most manual or the most like intense time process, if it would run smoother, and it worked, what would it free up your team in even in simple terms?
And so it's still the same added value for the client. If I have
Yeah.
the lawyer's check, if I have a system in place that does the lawyer's check automatically within
Mm.
minutes, then I
Mm.
want to stay on top of it and provide the advice to the client. Okay, we've run the check for your trademark. It's good to go. But I also understand your business, because the system allowed me to understand your system better. And instead of just registering this trademark here, you also want to trademark in the US, and you also want to trademark your product. And this is the
Mm.
added value that I believe that automation can allow us to offer.
I love it. I love it. It sounds great. We're entering the final section. You're right. I didn't ask you this. I'm sorry, but maybe that's the the good time to ask. What does trauma mean? Like, what is the brand coming from? Actually.
I didn't come up with the name. I was taken on board when the name was
Yeah.
finalized. And okay, I can roll with this. But trauma is basically a shortened version of trademark. So taking the first
Mm.
letters from trade, taking two letters from mark, you got trauma.
No, it's
And
good.
when we
Good.
started, and we had basically no reputation, and you were typing in Google search was still popular back then,
Yeah.
trauma trademark, you automatically got a suggestion from Google. Oh, did you mean trauma? So a lot of my friends from marketing and basically everyone I knew was teasing me about like, okay, so you're working for this company that produces trauma, but managed to like embrace this. And my response back then was, give me 5 years. And when you are typing in trauma 5 years from now, it will
It was
autocorrect you to give you, did you mean trauma? And it is actually happening. It's not happening like
wow,
searching just for trauma, or if you are mistyping it and you're searching for trauma trademark, it autocorrects you the
wow,
trademark. And we've
wow.
also managed to embrace it in the sense that I know there's a difference between trauma and trauma. Trauma
Mm.
means the client has a terrible experience, not happening in trauma.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because you saw the first thing I told you was I linked the names. So I feel also there's a marketing story around it where, like it feels like because the brand is the identity. So when somebody steals it, it's stealing your identity. And that usually creates trauma. So it feels like it has a story, it has deep substance to it. So amazing, really. I love the name and it sticks. So thinking about everything you've seen, Uri, and is there a specific workflow, habit, or meeting where you think leaders should just cut the bullshit? Like just say it, whatever you have in mind. If you want to curse, if you want to say cut the bullshit or the BS, because it looks productive, but actually isn't at all.
Question. I think the answer I'm going to go with is, again, it's going to change in a few months,
Mm,
but still people out there who do not trust the AI. And it's so
mm,
easy for them to dismiss it. Like, oh, AI does not produce good enough quality. It's not our standard. And I call that bullshit.
mm,
Be true. It is still true if you do not understand the
mm.
mechanics and how to properly use the AI, but it's bullshit.
Mm. I know it's like it's not a very well researched thing. So yeah, I hear you, man. Thanks for sharing this. And one last question. If you would give one piece of advice to leaders that have gone through similar challenges, similar things in your career, in your work, what would this advice be?
For me, it would be about people on both ends, focusing and surrounding yourself with the right people, with the right attitude. Attitude always trumps the skill, and also focusing on the clients. It's as old as the whole discipline of marketing, but just
Mm.
follow your clients and the business will do great. If you understand them, you can understand your business and you can match that. You can create success.
Wow, amazing. Wise words, Uri. That's very humble and very, very wise, very strategic. You're a great leader. It was such a pleasure, like getting to know you more and Trauma. Thanks for sharing all this. Yeah, and I hope to have see that growth and I would like recommend maybe at some stage because we're not there yet. We don't still have the sense of checking our brand, but any other company who wants to check, believe you're in Europe, you're in US, you're in all over the world. So highly recommend they check you out. But yeah, thanks for the time, Uri. It was a pleasure. And do you have any lasting things you want to mention? Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. It's been my pleasure, and I would disagree with this. I think counter bullshit is definitely worth protecting from the very start. Because we need to do something about that.
Amazing. Let's talk about this actually. Like, thank you so much. And we'll definitely chat more about this. Thank you.